Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well and has had a fantastic week. I have had a very, very busy week getting ready for the launch of my brand new Jonny Lipsham Studios website, complete with VIP membership. Yes, finally, after a very, very, very long wait due to a whole bunch of reasons to do with the different pieces of software that I was trying to integrate together, and they just weren't working for the most part. So I abandoned that old VIP idea, and now I have a brand new one, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. There are going to be brand new courses which are going to be exclusive to the VIP members at first, and then may well be made available as separate products in my new Jonny Lipsham Studios store, which is also going to be coming very, very soon as well. So I've been very, very busy getting all of that stuff ready and making it all look fantastic and smart and super cool for you guys. I've got a few more things to do with that yet, but I have plenty of time. I've got the whole of this week to get the last bits and pieces done so that it's all ready and set to go for you guys on Sunday next week. So basically this time next week, we will be launching the new site. It's going to be epic. Now, next Sunday, there will be a Sunday Night Live, except it's going to be a very, very special Sunday Night Live in that it's not going to be Sunday Night Live. I'm going to be starting in the daytime for you guys on Sunday next week. I am intending, at the moment, I need to sort of finalize everything with my wife and kids and all of that and make sure that my plan is okay with them, but fundamentally my plan is as follows, and I've got an itch right up my back that I can't reach, and I hate it when that happens. Anyway, my plan as it stands, subject to confirmation, and I will be putting emails out and posts on social media and on the community tab in this YouTube channel, with all the final details. But next Sunday, we're going to be starting at 10 a.m. Central Time. And my plan is to go through until 7 p.m. I know you're thinking I'm absolutely bonkers. But I'll either do one marathon live stream, or I will break it up into sections. And I've yet to kind of sort out how that's going to work. But it would be very, very cool if I could do something like a marathon, great big long session. And I'm going to try and make it as jam-packed as I can with stuff for you guys. And we will take a look in detail at the members area and the new site and all of that. And of course, I will be taking your questions. And of course, I'll be demonstrating things in Studio One, and at the piano, and at the guitar, and at the bass, and whatever you guys want, really. Basically, I am going to be totally at your mercy and your disposal for that day. Should be very, very cool. I am going to see if I can set up Skype to work properly in OBS. which it hasn't the last couple of times I've tried this, to maybe try and get some guests on the show on Sunday, which would be awesome if I can get that to work. Not quite sure how that's going to work yet, but that's at least the plan as it stands. And as I say, certainly by Tuesday, I will start putting out stuff all over social media to kind of confirm how it's all going to go. So it should be extremely cool, to use Johnny's favorite expression. So, speaking of whom, I'm sure he is here. He said he would be. But I have to say, I've been sat here watching the pre-show chat. It's hilarious. You guys are fantastic. Some of you guys come in to the chat probably about 10 or 15 minutes early. So I've actually been setting up the show so that it's just sat there for like half an hour before showtime is officially due to start, just so that you guys can chat, because I think that is cool that you guys are forming friendships, and I know that you guys have formed friendships through the Home Studio Trainer live streams that happen every Monday to Friday. And I know a lot of you guys have kind of formed friendships there, and you're involved in the support group and everything, which is awesome. It's very cool. But you know what? I'm really, really, really glad that you are starting to do the same thing over here on my channel as well. It's just great. It just, provides a very, very cool family kind of atmosphere. And I really like that. It's extremely cool. So I do believe the Lollipop Guild has claimed the number 1 spot. Indeed she has. Being first in the door about 40 minutes before showtime, I think. Was it 20 minutes? No, 40 minutes. Saying number one, which is so funny. That's great. And then Ken Moss was second in the door. And, I do believe I've just missed a donation, and the chat has just jumped all the way back up after having scrolled all the way back down it. Yes, Kyle with the $5 donation right off the bat. Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate that very much. That is extremely cool and a great way to start the show, because we haven't really started yet. which is awesome. I appreciate that, because you're giving me $5 and you have no idea what I'm going to talk about yet. Let's see. Mike from Peace Valley Audio is here. He says you're bonkers, so we understand. Yes, I am utterly bonkers. I was born that way. I blame my mother entirely. My mother is a comedian, so, it kind of goes with the territory that I am going to have inherited some of the comedy genes. Well, she's not just a comedian. She's a soul singer and contemporary dancer, as well as being a comedian. She's extremely gifted. But there you go. Dwayne is here. He says, Sunday morning CBS TV show starts at 9 CST and lasts 1 to 1.5 hours. Sunday morning CBS. Well, I have absolutely no idea what that is, because, I'm here in Edinburgh in Scotland, and I don't get CBS. Although I probably could, but no, I don't get that here. So, but as I say, because it's going to be a much longer show, and it will either be one great big long show, or it will be, several shorter shows. I haven't quite decided how that's going to work yet, but regardless, you can it's kind of like going to be like an open house event, so you can come and go as you please, to be honest. It'd be great if we have a good number of people here throughout the time, but, I'm not saying that you have to be here for the whole darn thing from start to finish. But yeah, by all means, drop in and out. If there are other things that you have to do on a Sunday, don't fret about that you're going to miss anything, or or anything like that. I'm going to, be doing something off and on throughout the day, as far as I am concerned. So there will be either one long show or several shorter shows. Kind of depends upon, I suppose, the number of people that we have, and also my computer. Will my computer tolerate being running live for 5 or 6 hours? I don't know. Let's see. Carl says, watched all the Britcoms that PBS provided. Yeah. You know what? All those Britcoms, you don't hear very many Scottish accents in those shows, I have to say. A lot of the British comedies that you get over there in the United States are pretty much English dominated, or Welsh. There are a few Welsh shows as well, but they're pretty much English dominated. Not that I have anything against English people, because I spent a large chunk of my life in England, so I have nothing against England. I was educated mostly in the English education system, so I have nothing against English people at all. But you just really don't hear very many Scottish accents at all, which is interesting. It is to me anyway. I think BBC owns PBS at this point. They may well do. All right, let's see who else is here. Kyle, obviously, Lollipop Gill was the first one in the door. Just Bob is here. Mike, of course, is here. And Sheila is here. And I'm not entirely sure who else is here. Ken, I think, was here or may well still be here. And Just Bob and Dwayne is here. John Lake is here. Excellent. We have a reasonable crowd, which is nice. Mike says EastEnders is funny. Yeah, the accents are fairly classically East London, although you do hear some regional variations. There are a few that are in the EastEnders cast who are not native to the East End of London, and they may well be actually just their character has the East London accent, so they are performing with that accent, but it's not their native accent. And there are a few cast members that you can tell that are like that. There are some Scottish actors in EastEnders, or at least there were. I don't know whether there are now, but there certainly were a few years back. A lot of the time it's hilarious. It's a weird show. Lollipop says, the actors aren't faking the accents, or are they still trying to eliminate the Scots from the Earth's crust? No, the actors in EastEnders, for the most part, are genuinely Londoners, or they have a sufficiently good London or East London accent that's sufficiently good enough for them to be on the show. So I know of at least one Scottish actor who was in the show. She's not anymore. She's doing something else. She's back up here in Scotland, actually. She's starring in a drama show up here. But she was in EastEnders for a while. She does an absolutely nailed on East London accent. It's breathtaking how good her East London accent is. I lived in South East London for about 12 years, and I can reasonably do the accent for South East London, but not very well. And I've been away from there for 14 years now, so the accent, I don't think I can do it anymore because I'm just out of practice. The Young Ones was a riot. Yes, the Young Ones are fantastic, hilarious. Extremely, extremely funny. Speaking of which, I was watching Rick Mail and Aid Edmondson's show that they did, their live theatre show that they did a while back called Bottom Live. And it's so funny. The funniest parts are when they mess up. They mess up the show, and you get 5, 6, 7 minutes of just pure improvisation between Rick Mail and Ade Edmondson, and it's hysterically funny, and then they finally catch up to where they're supposed to be in the script. It's very, very entertaining. Ade Edmondson is got to be one of the fastest. He's got to have one of the fastest senses of humor I've ever come across. He's so funny, and he's so quick. Lollipop says, I guess this is the best we're going to get for a live jam, hey? Yeah, unfortunately, the software for live jamming over the internet via webcams and such things isn't really that great yet. There is just too much latency and lag and delay because of processing and internet and variables of computers and that kind of thing. So unfortunately, it just doesn't exist yet. But I'm sure in maybe 10 years' time, I'm pretty confident actually that in probably 10 years from now, so we're talking 2029, I'm pretty sure that there will be such a thing. And in 10 years' time, we can do this show, and you guys could all sit there with your instruments, and we could just jam together. And we'd have split screen. It would be awesome with zero latency. That would be amazing. I would love to do that. Lollipop asks, is this East London anywhere around Kent? Kent is towards the south. Towards the south of London. London has expanded and grown so much. Kent is a county, and parts of London are in the county of Kent. Places like Sidcup are part of London, but they are in the county of Kent. There are, I think, 4, maybe 5 counties that London sits within. Like there's Middlesex, there's Surrey, there's Kent, and I think there's one other that I can't remember off the top of my head just now. But yeah, there are 3 or 4 counties. And I know this because, as I say, as I've said before, I have played county cricket, and I am a life member of Surrey County Cricket Club because I lived in southeast London, and a large part of southeast London is in the county of Surrey. So Kent is kind of a little bit further round, towards the south coast of England. But yeah, it's probably Kent is probably, the county itself is probably a little bit further south than where EastEnders is set. EastEnders is set in a fictional part of East London. And I think the postal code for it is E20, which basically means East 20, which suggests that it's towards the suburbs of East London. And the question is which side of the river it's on. I'm not really sure. But yeah. Yeah, Kent is kind of towards the south coast. 3 or 4 counties in London. Sounds a bit like Chicago. Yes, actually, in that respect, it is quite like Chicago. Having different boroughs and counties and stuff that the city kind of has grown to... what's the word I'm looking for? Encapsulate, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, we are kind of drifting away from the subject of music production, that kind of thing. I'm just kind of reading your chat and responding, I suppose, quite absent-mindedly. So, tonight really was kind of the start of the 7-day countdown to the launch of VIP. Basically, that's what tonight is all about. and I'm very excited about it, having created some new courses which I think are really, really good. There is a songwriter's course, a beginner's songwriter's course. There's beginner's music theory, which is very, very cool. I've called it practical music theory, and the reason why I've called it practical music theory is because everything that I teach you in the course is designed for you to be able to go away and try out, pretty much. There are some things that are a little bit kind of concept-based, where there is a concept for you to learn and to understand, and I talk through those. Each of the videos in the music theory course is about 40 minutes long, and really, because it is the beginner course, it is a little bit of a whistle-stop tour through the most important aspects of the basics of music theory. And the idea being that once you have started to learn a particular concept, you can go and kind of do some further digging for yourself and some further exploration. So I've deliberately made each of the sections, each of the videos of the course open-ended, so that you can basically try these things out and then, kind of explore a little bit further more for yourself. There will be an intermediate course that will be coming in the new year, and also an advanced music theory course, which will be coming maybe a little bit later on in the new year. I'm intending to get courses out fairly quickly, and so that we have regular new courses being added to the members area. You don't have to pay any extra for the new courses, because your membership fee covers the cost and the price, rather, of everything I make. So it's kind of, in that respect, a little bit like the Plugin Alliance bundle or the Slate Digital bundle or any of that kind of thing, where you pay a flat monthly fee every month and you get everything that they make. So in the case of Slate Digital, you get all of Slate's plugins that are probably, if you were to just purchase each one from the Slate Digital store, you'd be spending thousands of dollars. And he basically gives you access to everything for like $15 a month. And that's essentially what I'm going to be doing with my VIP. Is I'm going to be providing you guys with a load of courses and a great forum, a very interactive Q&A live stream show, which we will be doing using something called StreamYard, which I think I mentioned a little bit on a previous show, which we'll be kind of trying out together, because I've not used it before, but I have seen it used to great effect, and it really does mean that the level of interaction between you guys and me is that little bit closer than kind of what we have right now. What we have right now is me talking to a camera, and then I'm looking over here at what you guys might be typing away in the chat. So even though it is more personal than just a chat thread on Facebook or somewhere like that, using StreamYard should, bring us a step closer together, because, you guys will be able to use your microphones and your cameras if you so wish. You don't have to. There is a chat feature just like there is in YouTube. So if you don't want to use a camera, if you don't want to use a microphone, that's fine. You can just chat like you normally would here, for example. But on StreamYard, I can bring you in so that you can actually talk and everybody can hear you and I can hear you. And it means that if you've got a more complicated question to ask, that, there is a character limit in YouTube. You only get, 200 characters, I think? Something like that. I think it's 200 character limit in the chat box here in YouTube. But on StreamYard, I can actually bring you in and you can talk to me verbally and I can hear you and you can explain your question in a way that you wouldn't be able to typing it out. And I think that's really, really valuable and will make doing the show, the live stream, it's not really a show, doing the live stream Q&A coaching thing, I guess I haven't really got a name for it yet. I don't know, Hangout. The monthly VIP hangout. Let's call it that for now. It's just going to be a great place where we can all talk together and discuss stuff together. I can teach you something, but it's primarily about you guys asking questions and talking about the projects that you're working on and being able to share that amongst all of us, and we can all pitch in, we can all help, we can all talk about whatever it is that you're working on. So those will be once a month, and they'll be about an hour long for once a month. And one of the first things we will do when you join, and once the door is open next week, is one of the first things we'll do is in the forum, we will work out a time, given that I'm in the UK and you guys are all around the world, that is going to work hopefully in the best kind of compromise that we can come up with for doing our monthly hangout. So that's kind of where things are with that. Mika says we'll need an American to English translator. That's hilarious. Hopefully not. And Jonny is here, he says, howdy, folks. That's awesome. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Mika says, anyone here heard the new Spitfire Audio BBC Symphony Orchestra? Just got my SSD on Saturday. Will take a lifetime to go through all the various permutations. Yes, it looks awesome. I saw the trailer for it. Some friends of mine are actually involved in making that, and mostly because they are in the BBC Symphony Orchestra. So I've got friends that are actually involved in that project, and they say it's been absolutely incredible. And the end result is absolutely awesome for the end user. It's well worth the price tag, absolutely. So there we go. Just Bob asks, is that a purchase or BBC Archives released to the public? I believe the Spitfire thing is a product made by Spitfire Audio, but they have used the BBC Symphony Orchestra to create the product. So it's not in the BBC Archives or anything like that as far as I'm aware, because it is a product created by Spitfire Audio. So we will have this hangout using StreamYard. We will certainly give StreamYard a try. We'll give it a fair try and see if it works for us. If not, we'll come up with something else to do the hangout. Maybe Discord or something like that, because I've heard a lot of good things about Discord. And in fact, for those of you that are interested in Discord, I know it's primarily a gaming platform, but there is a Studio One Discord server. It's not official. It is not officially endorsed by Personas, but there are some Personas staff that are in there as members as well. I'm not in it yet, but I probably will be after I've got this launch for the VIP out of the way. I intend to go and get myself involved in that, because I think it's just another cool way to hang out and get to know more Studio One users and talk to them about, whatever they want to learn, which will help me to create products to help them. So, and be able to, be a little bit more hands-on with that kind of thing. So it does sound very, very cool. Christian Henderson has organized an amazing product. Yes, he most certainly has. All right, so there we go. So that's kind of the VIP to come on Sunday. I must give a little bit of a shout out to a couple of people, Jonny Guy being one, for his encouragement of the VIP idea in the first place. Way back about 3 years ago, he and I talked about it, and Jonny suggested that it is something that I should pursue, and I have done. And I also want to, they're not here, they're not part of this show, but I do know that sometimes they do watch. So I'm going to publicly acknowledge my good friend Pete Blameyer. He is a fellow bass player. He is a very good family friend of ours, who has spent probably the last 2 years or so helping me kind of like formalize the idea of the VIP. And we worked on another platform which as I say hadn't worked, but he helped me kind of realize what I wanted the VIP to be, because it was quite vague, to be honest. I wasn't really sure, except I just wanted to build a community around kind of what my channel on YouTube is all about and what you guys are all about. I wanted to provide a place for you guys to learn, and I wanted to provide a place where I could offload my teaching resources to you guys so that you could study them, you could learn from them, you could gain from them, and get better at what you do in your studios. And so he has helped me formalize a lot of that, and has helped me develop some of the ideas for some of the courses, which is very, very cool. So Pete Blameyer, I don't know if you're watching, but if you are one awesome dude. Thank you very much for your help. The other person I must shout out, who is extremely unlikely to be here, but if he is, that's awesome, and that's Rich Westfall. Got to give him a lot of thanks for his help as well, with basically helping me find what doesn't work. He's been a great sounding board, actually, over the last couple of years, just helping me kind of figure out what doesn't work, what's not possible, because, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to write software. I don't know how to build stuff like this. And, you know, I would go to him with something and say, hey, can we do this? And he'd go, no, that's not possible yet. There is nothing that exists that will allow you to do that yet. But, you know, hey, you never know. Further down the line, it might be available. So Rich and Pete are excellent guys, and they've been a lot of help in me getting to the start of where we are now. It is pricey, Bob. The Spitfire Audio Orchestra thing is pricey at $750, but I tell you what, I know from the friends of mine that have been working on it and have been involved in it, because they're musicians involved in it, it is worth every penny. It is absolutely worth every penny. In fact, I would suggest that maybe even $749 is a little bit low for what you get. And the amount of hours and time and effort and planning that's gone into it. So, Lollipop says, I just appreciate that you put so much into this already. Thank you so much. I appreciate that comment. That is a very, very cool comment, and I appreciate that considerably much. I just appreciate that you put so much into this already. Yeah, I have put a lot into it, and I've spent a couple of years failing pretty spectacularly at it, but there is another person that I would love to shout out, but unfortunately, for me anyway, he wishes to remain completely anonymous, so I cannot mention his name, because he wants to protect his anonymity, but without him, I would not be launching the new VIP on Sunday. And the new website and everything else that goes with that. I would not be launching it on Sunday. It would not be happening, because this thing was dead and buried, and I had put it away and given up on it pretty much. And then about 3 months later, this individual, about 3 months ago, I should say, this individual approached me and said, I know you've been wanting to build a VIP membership. And he said, I've been looking at some platforms on which you can build it. I said, well, I've been looking at those platforms too, but I dismissed them because they were too expensive and I couldn't have afforded them. And he said, don't worry about that. Build it and I'll take care of it. So this particular individual is awesome because he has underwritten at least the start of the VIP and getting us to the point where we can launch it. So I thank him very, 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 very much for what he has done, because this should catapult me forward massively, and Jonny Lipsham Studios should shoot forward massively, and it gives me exactly what I've wanted for the last couple of years, which is a place where I can hang out with you guys, you can hang out with me, and we can learn together, and we can grow together and get better at making music together as a little community. So that's what I am excited about building, is a community with you guys, and not just with you that are here on the chat, but hopefully with a lot more people. So if you know people that you think that my VIP would be really good for them, then encourage them to come here to this show on next Sunday. And when I launch the VIP on next Sunday, they will be able to join. They will be able to sign up straight away. So if you think that it'll be good for them, get them over here. Bring them over here. So, bring as many of your friends as you can that you think that my VIP and what I have to do, what I have to bring to you guys is valuable. If you think it'd be valuable to other people, then bring them along and encourage them to join. That would be very cool. 749 is just the introductory price. It'll normally be £1,000. Yes, and that's still a bargain for what it is. Let's see. Yeah, Mika says, go to Christian Henderson's YouTube channel. He demos their interface and has templates he's created, but not for Studio One. He's an excellent modern composer as well. Well, we're subscribing. Yes, I have seen his channel, actually, and he does have some really great stuff on it. I will subscribe. Absolutely. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes or so left, and I realize I've done a heck of a lot of talking. So the floor is now yours, guys, for your questions, and I have Studio One open as we speak. So if there's something that you want me to show you in Studio One, we can do that. So get your questions into the chat. That'd be very, very cool. Let's see if you've got any questions. Jonny says, thanks, but I'll be scaling back very soon. Jonny will be moving forward. You guys wouldn't be able to do 2 VIP options. Well, some folks might be able to. Some folks might not be able to. Some folks might need to choose a little bit. Not that you and I are in competition at all, Jonny, because I'm sure that there will be some crossover. Some of my guys will go to you, some of your guys will come to me, and it's a shared thing. We are co-conspirators. We are not we're co-conspirators, collaborators. We are not in competition. So I'm not quite sure why I see that you might be scaling back. Anyway, that is entirely up to you, my dear friend. Ken says, is anyone else working on the 5-note song? I did some work on mine today. Sounds very oriental, even though it's not a true pentatonic scale. But it went in that direction nonetheless. Well, pentatonic scale absolutely does fulfill the brief, okay? Even if you didn't do next door notes thing, and you ended up using something like that, a little pentatonic thing like that, that's absolutely fine. Yeah, that totally does fulfill the brief, and I'm looking forward to hearing it, Ken. Lollipop says, my first trial at the 2-chord 5-note thing propelled me into finishing the goal I set up earlier this year. It had 3 chords minimum, so I'm disqualified. Yeah, the thing about this 2-chord 5-note thing, you know, it's not a competition, it's a challenge. It's something to challenge yourself to do. There's no deadline for it. There's no prize at the end of it. The idea is that it's a challenge for you to complete, so that you can say, I have written a song that has 5 notes in it and 2 chords in it. I limited myself to just those 2 things, and I was still able to write a great song and prove that it's possible to write a great song just using 5 notes and 2 chords. Okay? And the reason why I gave this challenge to you guys is because there are going to be many challenges like these in the VIP. It's going to be part of it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. And the idea is that it's not just going to be challenges that I set you guys. Okay? I want you guys to be involved in deciding what challenge that we do. So we will, every month, we will do a poll. I'll put a couple of suggestions in, but I'll leave it open-ended so you guys can add your own suggestions, and then the highest voted suggested challenge is the one that we all do, me included. Okay, I'll be doing the challenges as well. It's going to be awesome fun, and I'm sure we'll come up with some really, really great challenges that will stretch us all to make music under a variety of different settings and a variety of different limitations and permutations and those kind of things. So yeah, that was really the whole point of that challenge, and also the whole point of the December the 10th challenge last year, which was very, very cool. There are some great songs that came out of that December 10th challenge, and I completed that challenge myself as well, and I am working on my own 2-chord 5-note song as well. So yeah, that's kind of what that was all about. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Mike says, I wish I could just finish a song. Well, you know, the best way to finish a song is to start. And quite often, I'll tell you this, Mike, okay? In that wardrobe behind me is a bunch of external hard drives. And they are absolutely stuffed to the brim of songs that I abandoned. I started them, and then I abandoned them. I also have a box file full of handwritten charts that I started and then abandoned. I do that a lot. I'm just as guilty as the next person of starting something and then going, yeah, this is a bit shit. Excuse my language, but I'm Scottish. I'm allowed to do it. You know, this is a bit rubbish. Nah, and I just abandon it, and that's it. I leave it, and I don't necessarily always revisit. But here's the cool thing about unfinished songs, and not a lot of people think about this, but it's very cool. If any of you are vaguely eco-minded, and you think about recycling, and you recycle paper, you recycle plastics, you recycle glass, you recycle plastics, you can recycle songs. And I've done that myself. I wrote a whole album back in, let me see, when was it? 2013. And there were 7 songs on that album. And all 7 of them were made of extracts and bits and pieces from different songs that I had abandoned over the years. Some of those songs had had parts of songs that were written 30 years ago. You know, like one of the songs, the bass part was something that I came up with when I was just a kid. I was just like 14 years old, just doodling around on my bass and just like, that is a really cool little bass line. And it went into a song. I abandoned the song because I couldn't think of a good melody to go with such a great bass part. Who'd have known that, 30 years later, that bass part would form a central part of another song, and it would work better than it did in the first instance. So even if you find you're working on a song and it's just not working out, put it to one side. Put it away on an external thumb drive, or put it away on an external USB drive. And then, later down the line, you may find that actually what you started with in this other song fits this newer song better. One of the songs that I wrote, the chorus is from a completely different song. Completely different song. I transposed it into the key that the song I was working on was, and I sped up the tempo, and it fitted perfectly. It was just like that chorus from that other song fitted the new song that I was writing perfectly. And I was just like, great, I only need to write verses now. I don't even need to write a chorus. I've already got that because I wrote that like 10 years ago. So, when you say, I wish I could finish a song. Well, you know what? Everything that you write has a use. Everything that you write has a purpose, has a use. Whether it's for that particular song that you're working on, or it fits better in a different song, who knows? And that's the beauty of if you abandon a song, you can do that with. So, never kind of go, I can't finish the song. Well, you've made lots of starts. Maybe take some of those starts and sellotape them together. And who knows, maybe you'll have a song pretty much written with no effort. That's entirely possible. Who's talking about tension? Let's see. Jonny says, I've never looked at us as competitors. Seeing you make this stride is so awesome. It's just not something I can do. Well, you're kind of already down the road. You've got your pivot share. You've got your pivot share site where, that's a monthly membership thing. So, and you've had that for a good while now. So in that respect, you're already ahead of me. Dave Vignola has his. He's already well ahead of me and has a lot of fantastic products that Home Recording Made Easy and Mixing Made Easy is a fantastic little place already, so I don't see any of the aforementioned people, Jonny or Dave or Graham or Joe, as competitors. We're all collaborators, we're all colleagues, we can all share, and we can all, at the end of the day, we're all about the same thing, which is helping people make better music. That's what we're all about, surely. So yeah, that's the way I feel about it. Ken says, I kept it to the first 5 notes. I kept the 4th tone, but no 6th. Okay. But I did cheat once, extra measure to end on the tonic, so 33. Oh, that's fine. That's fine, because, the 33rd bar is kind of like your ending bar. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Mika says, my melody does not feature consecutive notes of the scale. If that's not okay, but it has created some fuel for an upcoming project. Well, that's great that it's inspired something else. That's awesome. Um, I mean, if you've limited yourself to 5 notes and 2 chords, it kind of does fit the brief. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be consecutive notes. You know, it could be based out of a pentatonic pattern. You know, those are all pentatonic patterns. Those are all little pentatonic patterns. So it could be based out of anything like that. That's absolutely fine. But I'm glad, Mika, that has fueled an entirely other project. That's awesome. I like the sound of that. Let's see, and a pair of drumsticks, 2 in that wardrobe. Yes, I have loads of sticks in there. I have bricks of sticks from different manufacturers of sticks that I've used over the years. Just Bob says, sorry for bringing it up, just trying to help. Home studio trainer, definitely don't want to create unneeded tension. Yeah, that's fine. There's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no tension here. Let's see. Ken says you can't learn to walk unless you're willing to fall down. I agree. That is a great way to put it. I agree with that too. I fall down a lot. Yes, absolutely. You know, there's the story about Edison when he was working on developing what we now know is the light bulb. He had so many failures. He was told by colleagues of his who were very, very high up in his industry and very, very successful people, and they were saying, look, man, come on, you got to give up on this. It's clearly not going to work. It's never going to happen. This whole light bulb thing is just not going to happen. You know, we are where we are. This is what we've got. I guess we're just going to have to live with it. And Edison wouldn't give up. He just wouldn't give up. And the story goes that he had about 10,000 failed attempts until he finally struck gold and created what we now know as the light bulb. And without his invention, heck, you wouldn't be able to see me. I wouldn't be lit up. And you wouldn't be able to look at your television screen. You wouldn't be able to look at your computer monitor. Because his invention kind of helped propel all of that forward. And you wouldn't be able to drive your car at night. So, you know, his invention was and is incredibly powerful. But it wasn't something that he just went, bing. There you go. There's a pun if ever there was one. It wasn't like he was just, you know, sitting on the toilet and went, hang on a minute. That's a great idea. And then he patented the idea and, you know, that was that. It was all done and dusted in a week. No. It took him years of not getting it right. It took him years to perfect it. And it's the same with the guys that invented the very first attempts to record sound. You know, between, I think, the 1830s, I think at the moment, I think it's something like 1832, there is a recording from that year that is now being regarded as the earliest recorded human voice. 1832. Between 1832 and when the first mass-producible audio playing device was invented successfully, a lot of people were involved in a lot of experimentations and a lot of failures and a lot of things that just don't work. There were experimentations with tin foil. It sounds horrific. It really does sound very, 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 very bad. The quality is is so low that when you listen to the recordings, you can barely make out what is being said because there is so much noise. And of course, wax cylinder was something that was mass producible. You could mass produce it. You could reproduce recording over and over again on a wax cylinder. And wax cylinders were kind of like the mainstay for a little while until, acetates and styluses and all of that was invented. So you could actually, cut to a disc, which could then form a stamp, and then from that you could mass produce and make records. In the early 1910s and on into the 1920s, when records were the new thing. But before then, recording sound was nigh on impossible, and it took a lot of failure before they finally hit upon it. And by the way, Thomas Edison did not invent the recording of sound. It was probably discovered and invented far, far earlier, maybe about even 40 years or so earlier. It's just that the device that he invented is the one that became the most successful, and everything else fell away. It's kind of like the difference between VHS and Betamax. If you remember Betamax, nobody remembers Betamax. Well, hardly anybody remembers Betamax, but everybody remembers VHS. Everybody at their home had a VHS recorder player, and a great big stack of VHS videos. I still have mine. I have like 2 great big World War II footlockers filled with VHS cassettes. But Betamax fell by the wayside. It just wasn't as good as VHS. VHS was the one that made it through, and so it was with wax cylinder back in those days. So the same thing kind of applies, I think. And I'm just going to drop down the chat. Dave blew by. Well, Dave has had a lot of success. And has been able to apply some of the business skills that he has to education, and has done very, very well at it. He's streamlined it a lot. But I can remember at the start, when he first started Home Recording Made Easy, it was a little clunky, to say the least. But now it is extremely streamlined, and his process for creating products and getting products out there and getting sales is extremely fast and extremely streamlined now. And I'm only just starting out at that, really. I have MIDI Drums Made Easy Volume 1 and Volume 2, which were put out a couple of years ago, and I haven't really put out anything since then. Because really I've been wanting to build my own platform for putting stuff out there. Dave was very gracious in allowing me to create MIDI drums, both volumes with Home Recording Made Easy, and have those products hosted on his platform, for which I'm very grateful. But really I've wanted to build my own platform for my own products so that they are uniquely and distinctly mine. As much as I've enjoyed working with Dave on those 2 products, and I'm sure he and I will work on some other products down the line as well, I would imagine, just as I imagine that I will do the same with Jonny, and I'll do the same with whomever is up for collaborating on creating educational materials. So that's kind of where I stand, except I'm not standing, I'm sitting, but you know what I mean. That's kind of where I am with that, really. If folks want to collaborate on developing educational music production products, let's do it. But if we're going to do it, let's do it properly. And let's make the whole thing streamlined. Let's make it successful. Let's make it happen. So yeah. And he did grow, Home Recording Made Easy pretty quick. It's taken off, probably faster than even he expected, to be honest. Let's see. Tesla invented the light bulb. Edison is like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. They weren't creators, they were business owners. Edison hired someone else who made tungsten carbonate filament. Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Yeah, well, Edison certainly did not invent a way to record sound. I think it's just the thing that I think it was just the product that he was involved with just ended up being the most successful, whether that's because he had better business skills or better sales skills. Who knows? Who knows, how much those came into play during that period of history. I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. Let's see. Mike says records are the only way to listen to music. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. Betamax 6-head video playback machine with superior quality, but too expensive. VHS made it affordable. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think Betamax had definitely the better playback quality for sure. The resolution was higher. There was less noise on the tape, and the tapes could be played more times than a VHS tape could. But you're right. VHSs were much more accessible and much more affordable. But yeah, I suppose I guess what you lost with Betamax was that higher resolution, that higher quality to the products and to the playback quality, which was a shame. Mike says Media Drums Made Easy 1 and 2 are both awesome videos. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And Jonny agrees. And Ken says, yep, I have both volumes too. That's awesome. I appreciate that. And I think pretty much we are 3 minutes past 1. So unless anybody has a particular burning question that they would like me to answer in this show, I think otherwise we are going to call it a night there, because it is 3 minutes past 1 in the morning here. For you guys, it's going to be 3 minutes past 7 if you are in the central time zone, and I guess it's going to be either an hour before that or later, depending upon where you are in the United States. And of course, I'm not including mountain time. I'm not even sure that anybody here is in that area, mountain time. But there we go. Mika says VHS Hi-Fi had better audio qualities than Betamax by a long shot. Yeah, I think you're right about the audio for sure on VHS. I think the thing I didn't like about VHS was how quickly the tape would degrade. After so many playbacks, the audio would be significantly degraded, and picture quality would degrade fairly quickly as well. There are some VHSs which were favorite movies of mine, which I would watch over and over again, because I'm one of those people that, when I have a favorite film, I watch it over and over again. Even though I've already watched it, I know the end of this. I know the end of the story. I know what's going to happen to the characters, but I still find something of interest every time I watch it. And there are certain films like that for me, and a lot of those are still on VHS. But yeah, after maybe 30 or 40 plays, yes, I am that kind of person. The sound isn't quite as good as it was. And partly that's probably something to do with the playheads as well, but yeah, there we go. Let's see. Oh, Dwayne is Mountain Time. Okay, I would love to know what the difference between Greenwich Mean Time and Mountain Time is. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to know what the difference between mountain time and Greenwich Mean Time is. Because I know between here and the Central Time area, the difference is 6 hours. So I'd love to know what mountain time is. But there we go. I think we're pretty much at the end of the show, and it just remains for me to say a big thank you to everybody for coming. I don't actually know how many people came. I will have a look. Oh, mountain is 1 hour earlier. Okay, so that'd be 5 hours difference. Okay. Let's have a look and see. We've got 18 people in here just now. 18 people is good. I like that. But at one point we had 25. That's cool. I would love it if we could get to a point one time where we actually hit the 50 mark. That would be lovely. Let's see. Amika says, what a great show this is. So laid back and friendly. You are a gem. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. 7 hours. Okay, 7 hours. That's cool. Thank you, Dwayne. Appreciate that. Mrs. Doubtfire for me. That was on telly today. It's funny you should mention that, because that was actually on telly today. And I was watching Robin Williams and just remarking on his prodigious talent for voices. It's his Scottish accent in Mrs. Doubtfire is pretty good. It's above average, considerably above average. It's not perfect. It's not great, but it is extremely good. There are some. He's got the phraseology. Absolutely got the phraseology totally, and there are some of the vowel sounds and some of the consonantal sounds he's got right, but there are some words where they are just clearly, American. But accents are hard, especially Scottish ones. Well, especially any British accent is hard. And some United States accents are hard, like Southern accents. I won't even attempt, because I just can't do them justice. They would offend people if I did them. One of the most interesting United States accents I have heard recently is a friend of mine who's just actually recently become a friend of mine, who's a trumpet player. I seem to collect trumpet players. I don't know how or why, but I seem to collect trumpet players. But anyway, this guy is from Maryland, and I just love his accent. And the interesting thing is, he says, I said that to him, I said, this is going to sound weird, because I know we've only known each other a few weeks, but I really love your accent. And he goes, well, that's interesting, because I was going to say the same thing to you. I really love your accent. And it's just really funny. But yeah, I have little hope in being able to do his accent, because it's really, really interesting. I could listen to him talking all day, basically. But he has a terrific accent. Mika says, I guess you saw Lewis Hamilton take the Formula One champion. Yes, I did. I was actually chatting to Mike Neighbour on Skype. And on my laptop, I was watching the text commentary on the BBC website. And I knew that all he had to do, if Bottas won the race, all he had to do was finish in the top 8, and the title was his. But I also knew that if Bottas also crashed out of the race, then it didn't matter what Hamilton did. He could just pull into the pits and park up and say, okay, that's me done. And the title would be his. Because of the points gap, nobody would be able to catch him. So it was really, really, really interesting. It was good fun. It was a good race to watch. In the background. Let's see. Watch Robin Williams stand up about. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that. His stand-up show was hilarious. Mika says, which accent? Maryland, I think is what I was referring to. I think it's called Maryland. Maryland? I think that's where he was talking about. But yes. They put up a flag just to give you hope. Yes, exactly. And that's the way I play golf, by the way. I see the flag and I go, that's it. And usually when I strike the ball, it goes over there instead of over there. And then there's a person that is taking his putt on the green over here, and the ball very, very nearly hits him in the head. I have done that. So I have some funny golf stories to tell you guys, and I will on another show for sure, because I actually got banned from a golf club for my golf playing because they considered it dangerous and I was a risk to other golfers on the course. So there you go. Anyway, that is us for the night, and I say a big thank you to you guys for coming out, all 25 of you who are here, and the 18 or so of you that are still here. Thank you so much for the great conversation that's been going on in the chat, even before the show started. You guys are the best. You guys are hilarious. You are very kind and generous and warm and funny people, and I really, really like you guys a lot, and I thank you so much for your support and for your encouragement to keep building Jonny Lipsham Studios and taking it forward. And to those of you that have encouraged me to build and create educational products, I thank you very much. And actually, Jonny Guide owes a lot of thanks, because I wouldn't be able to make videos if it hadn't been for him. Because Jonny showed me how to do it and helped me out with some gear to be able to do it as well. So a big thank you to Mr. Guide, my very, very dear friend. And I will see you all on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but I'm sure Jonny and I will have some ideas, and I'm sure it'll be hilarious fun. So I'll see you on Wednesday, and then of course the following Sunday is the launch day. So be here if you can. I'm going to start kicking things off at 10 a.m. Central Time, and feel free to drift in and out. It will be kind of like an open house party, except it'll be on YouTube and my channel, and not in my house, unfortunately. I'd love to have you guys here. But anyway, I will see you all very, very soon. A very, very good night to all of you. Bye for now. Just one last thing, guys. Mika, read very carefully what you just wrote. I'm sure you didn't mean it that way, but that's hilarious. Good night, everybody. All right. There we go. Great show. Great chat.